Is AI good for education? Do you think it is affecting or we are already affected by it?
So my hope is that AI should be a tool to bridge that educational inequality.
Can artificial intelligence replace teachers? And I'll ask you why, because 6 months.
Before that, I want to ask your opinion.
This question is specifically for you. Will Insights IAS become Insights AI?
I don't want to name Insights AI or anything. So we have to evolve with that. I mean, we have to choose something.
Do you think AI will replace completely teachers, or AI and the traditional teaching methods will come together and revolutionize India? Welcome to Beyond the Headlines. Welcome to Beyond the Headlines. Today there is a one important technology which is affecting all of us, or we might get affected by us. That is artificial intelligence. ChatGPT, Bard, which is now Gemini, Microsoft Copilot, Perplexity, all these AI tools are affecting us. So let's get into detail of understanding how AI would be affecting education. And again, we have Vinay sir, who is the founder and director of Insights IAS. Welcome, sir.
Thank you,
Again.
Thank you, Sanjay. Thank you once again.
So, sir, I've spoken about these tools, and I want to know, is AI good for education? And do you think it is affecting, or we are already affected by it? Since I know I've done, even in the previous podcast, you talk about Sanjay skill sets, technology, and there's a vision of you. So where do you see AI technology in your vision, and how it is affecting education, or we are already in the process of it?
In the last podcast, we talked about educational inequality.
Right.
Right. So my hope is that AI should be a tool to bridge that educational inequality. The goal of bringing AI into education, not just to make already powerful people more powerful, those who already have access to internet more capable, but it should be a tool to somehow bridge this gap. So those who are not getting quality education, so can AI somehow, because internet, I think everybody has access to internet nowadays. Power of AI is that it need not enter the classroom, right? So it can be in your smartphone, so it can come into various gadgets in the future. So if somehow, I'm not very sure how it is going to bridge that gap. So my hope is that, but right now, it looks bit, I am pessimistic in the sense that there is a transition period, right, for everything. What happens, the way the technology is evolving, speed with which it is evolving. So those who already have access, let us say those who are studying in international school, best of the schools, those who are aware, even the 6-7-year-old kids are nowadays aware of AI. So once it gets into their hands, once they know how to use it, so they will move so forward, they will move so forward technologically, and they will know how to use it in various assignments, various, areas of education, whether it is math, science. Now, will we be investing similar, to reach this technology to the people who are not even getting basic education? It may come eventually, but I don't think those students who are not getting quality education right now will not be ready to use these AI tools, right, to bridge that gap. So the gap will widen for some period of time, and I think we need huge investments.
So ChatGPT paid model is around, sir, $20 a month. Okay, as of now, so it's around 1,800 or 2,000 rupees a person has to pay. And this was the question which I wanted to ask, but you've already answered, that you talk about that it will lead to fill the gap of this education disparity which is existing.
That is the hope I have, but
Okay.
I'm not sure if it is going to do it or not.
So you think government need to interfere in it, or the current government? The current government at the center dispensation, they're talking a lot of AI, not necessarily education, but talking a lot of AI, and companies like Nvidia, which is behind in AI making these chips, they're also investing a lot. So is the government moving in the right direction, or do you think any state government you think that that might be working on this?
Governments will eventually come in, okay, eventually try to catch up. They eventually try to catch up, okay.
Will they be forced? I'm cutting you, sir. Will they be?
They will be forced. So the thing is, by then, so much private agencies in the private sector, they would have moved already, right? Using once it becomes all omnipresent, so in one area, one sector, then the government thinks that it should be available to vulnerable section also, right? So when it is available to everyone, then the government will think, okay, let us make it available to, but it will be a piecemeal approach, it won't give the substantial access. They will come, okay, we'll give AI driven or AI loaded, maybe smartphone, tab, or we'll give digital classroom or something. So, but the fear is that by then the world would have moved so forward. Even if the government tries to do something, it will be like the way it has done so far in the education. Build a classroom, build a school, very basic school, right? There is a blackboard, there are no desks. Make children sit. There are teachers. They come and teach whatever they want. They go, right? So here and there they want to create model schools, right? So, but look at like last since the globalization, like last 3 decades. So how the private sector has moved on in terms of education. I'll give you an example. So in my neighborhood, not in neighborhood, in my neighbor only, the girl studied in one of the top schools in Bangalore. By 11th, she had figured out that she had to go to either Harvard or Cambridge or London School of Economics, right, by 11th standard. And 12th, they were given a tour.
11th, I was trying to figure out which stream I should get.
Whether to medical or engineering or something, right? And they have figured out which course. The course names are like very, like
3 or 4 years program they are going for it. Yes.
So one generation is moving like that.
Right.
So another thing is that with respect to your earlier first question, AI in education. So nobody has any clue about how AI is actually going to transform or impact the education, right? So we will go on figuring it out based on who has already figured it out.
Correct.
In some part of the world, if somebody had figured out, introduce some models, and if that model becomes, useful everywhere, everyone is using. So then what happens? We start bringing it here. So we need to be pioneers, right? So to be pioneer in knowing how to use education, culture specific to Indian diverse, culture. We have to invest in research. We are not doing that. I think we are not doing that. I don't know if someone is doing that. So there are so many issues. Then what happens? What is applicable in the West? Then we will copy that.
Correct.
And then we will implement it.
Sir, on this only, there was a podcast which you've done earlier. It was about risk aversion. In that also, as a society, I feel that when Indians go abroad, we become CEOs of top companies. So as a talent pool, you have already told Sanjay, there is no problem of talent. I travel. So as a talent, there is not a problem. But is it since I want to talk about, even if we are able to bridge education disparity through AI, this research and development disparity, because AI is being led by China, America. So for example, in 50 years, they would be leading in AI also. So that disparity would be continuing in technology. So technology disparity is there, and worse would be that these top AI companies would be led by Indians, and there would be no big AI company, I hope it comes, is not coming from India. So how to resolve this?
See, Azim Premji, I think they have a university specific to imparting education related to education.
Okay. It's like a philanthropic organization?
No, they have university with respect to education sector itself.
Okay.
How to reform education sector, how to train teachers, how to build better schools, right? So such kind of universities are absent. So while you were asking question, I was thinking like, so is there a separate department, whether in government or in any IIT or in IASC, AI in education, how AI is going to impact education, right? I think there should be a separate department because education is not a small sector.
Correct.
Right. So the billion people in India, everyone needs education. So eventually every generation needs the education. So if you look around, we don't have that kind of focused research specific to education. How we brought NEP, nobody knows like how it was, who deliberated upon it. So who are the people, who are the think tanks, right? So was there any discussion outside the parliament? It was just like imposed.
One question, sorry to cut you. Do you think our parliamentarians current in the parliament, how many of them even know what is the full form of AI, or they know what is AI?
I'm sure I think everyone will know it because they would have figured it out. But yeah, like I understand the sarcasm there, but they may know the full form of artificial intelligence, but some of them or many of them may not be intelligent or may not be concerned also with respect to how it should be used. So recently I read an article, AI in administration. In the
Very
Hindu,
important.
it had come that.
Yes.
But AI in education, yet to see.
Sir, they might not know, or they might not be intelligent enough to know, or because of their schooling, graduation, that I understand. But he used a second word. They're not concerned. That's the problem. These people would be leading us. How do we rectify it?
Some corner of the parliament, or some corner of the secretariat definitely will be concerned about it. But I don't think they will be heard. They will be given enough attention. It's a big country. There are people who are concerned. There are, as I said, there are talented people. There are genuine people. Honest people. But it is not general. It doesn't come under the major discourse. It is not discussed and debated as part of the reform. So eventually, I mean, in the next podcast we can think about health also. So considering the education, because that it is denied, it is already denied to so many people, the quality education. Now if AI plus education, if that is denied, so I think we will eventually come to witness a kind of modern slavery, right? So there are technologically enabled powerful people, one section in the society, and other people will be dependent on them. And my another fear is that AI tool, once it becomes commercial, right? So it will be controlled, just like it happens in the pharma sector.
Right.
Now the social media, right? Twitter you have to pay. So Facebook premium features you have to pay. Instagram you have to pay, right? For more tools and all.
So this will again go to the privileged class.
Yes.
So it goes to the privileged class, and then people command it, and people who command it, people related to them will come and open companies. This is again going back to the previous podcast of nepotism
And inequality. Inequality, they like to perpetuate inequality.
Yes. So I can say nepotism is a subset of inequality, or inequality is a subset of nepotism.
Nepotism contributes to inequality.
Sir, moving from this, a very standard question: can artificial intelligence replace teachers? And I'll ask you why. Because 6 months.
Before that, I want to ask your opinion.
My opinion.
What do you think?
Sir, I don't think so that artificial intelligence can replace teachers, for that matter, because critical thinking, thought process, analytical point of view, human behavior, psychology, AI is studying data. So if you give him wrong data, it will give you wrong calculations. And this algorithm, the people who are creating this algorithm, they are taking data from YouTube videos, they are taking data from all over the world. Who is vetting the data? There is no one to vet the data. So once it gives you analysis, for example, you ask ChatGPT, that which are the countries working on nuclear bomb, it will give you a lot of data, but there is not legitimacy that data would be correct, because it is collating data and giving you the answers. So who will vet the data? Who is the owner of the company? What kind of thought process that the coder has? He's left, he's right, he's center to the right to the center, left to the center. So there are so many complications in this, that this vetting process and eventually GPT start giving us, or any of the tool giving us legitimate and authentic data, it will take a lot of time. And for example, for example, I give a current affairs news, it can give me a summarized version, or it can give me pointers. But to the explanation which a teacher does, it's very difficult. For example, I can understand someone's, at what particular point that he's there. It is something like AI cannot create one more Vinay sir. It's not possible. At least for now, they can't do. I don't know about that.
But on this, what I think is that eventually AI will evolve.
Yes.
Evolve in such a way that it will become more intelligent than humans.
Yes.
And what we are fearing, that it will not have human touch. So I think eventually that will get human touch also, maybe far future, 30-40 years, it might develop consciousness also. Because see, we are living in technology, inside the technology now, right? Everything we do, starting with wearable things, to the way we express emotions online, the way we express our opinions online, everything is documented, studied, and is refined and like vetted. There are things for that, I think. So these AI tools are becoming far superior, right? Far more sophisticated. I think there comes a point they will be far intelligent than humans. And our worry will not be about in the education sector, we lack human touch and all. Eventually the classroom will be replaced in the near future, like 30-40 years, the classrooms will become redundant. there is individualism, and the technology has created this individualism. Individual is, as a unit, is more independent today, more powerful. They don't need government, right? In the globalized world, in the technology world, they don't need government. So the systems will evolve in such a way that individually learn on their own, and there are exams individual specific. They can take whenever they want. Yesterday I read UGC has introduced, one can take exams twice. They can change courses anytime. They can go for 2 simultaneous courses.
Yes.
So these institutions also evolve, right? How the systems evolve. So I think that time, maybe 20-30 years later, so that time will come. I mean, we were not discussing UPSC, maybe we would have asked that question later. So I hope, and I really want this coaching industry to vanish, and I think AI will kill coaching industry, because see, individuals should discover their own potential. So AI will help in that regard, but my apprehension, my concern always lies with those who are technologically disadvantaged right now.
Correct. So this is what a visionary talks about. Sir owns a big institute which has given so many results, but he himself is talking about that eventually AI, with devolution of the past and everything, the entire coaching industry will come down and it would be more individualistic. People will get more opportunities in studying for UPSC and other examination. So this was the next question, but you are already kind of answering it. So you think that the preparation of UPSC education will change? Will Insights IAS become Insights AI? 30-40 years, and on that 30-40 years there was a movie which, sir, it was called Atlas. Jennifer Lopez was in that, and in which it was exactly AI had consciousness, and eventually at the end of the movie how the machine and the human have human connection. So if that comes,
no, that happens eventually, right? So TVs used to be very expensive once upon a time. Phones used to be expensive. So everyone can afford TV, smartphone. Similarly, robots or any kind of the systems loaded with AI will also become cheap over a period of time. I think everyone will have them. So in that era, when everyone will have AI in their hands or maybe in their brains also, who knows, right? Neuralink kind of project embedded in their system.
Elon Musk company, one company is Neuralink. Yes.
Neuralink, yeah. So I think that also, see, if one company has started something, this OpenAI started, and Amazon has invested last week only $40 billion in Anthropic. So there is this AI company, generative AI company, right? So because Google has invested, and Apple has its own, and Twitter has its own AI. So then there is OpenAI. So once one company starts this kind of thing, so there is another company who is going to invest there. So the technology will be eventually, becomes ubiquitous. So everyone will have it eventually. So at that time UPSC will change, because it doesn't want to look outdated, maybe. Obviously. Right? The nature of examination will change. We don't know how, right? So by then we would have solved this cryptographic issue or problem, in the sense that the examinations can be more secure. The individual can give exam from wherever he is, but still it can be assessed. You don't need the CCTV cameras putting everyone in a room, right? Question paper and everything. So the individual assessment will come to norm, I think. So it will definitely is bound to change, and I don't want to name Insights AI or anything. So we have to evolve with that. I mean, we have to choose something, right? I mean, individual will start individual company, and I don't know what is going to happen in the future, but maybe in another 5 years, so things will totally. So we have seen what is happening with Baiju and an academy. It's mainly because of I had tweeted in 22 or 21. Offline is the future. When these were booming, that was my reaction to Baiju being, evaluated at $21 billion, an academy $3.5 billion. So they were like, like in Zoom, like they were like, online is the future. I said offline is the future, because eventually knowledge becomes free, right? Any knowledge you create online, whether it is video lectures, whether whatever you create, eventually people want it at free of cost, and it itself becomes free, right? So that is the nature of the knowledge online. So it cannot be hidden. It is there. You cannot, safeguard it.
Correct.
It eventually, because you have Telegram channels, you have hackers, you have people who want to give it free.
Absolutely.
So entire online education system will collapse. Anything, any education, any knowledge you want to put online is going to be free. And add to this AI, right? And it is giving more polished, more refined, more better content, right, by itself. So offline might be the future, the brick and mortar. Only the downside of everything is that there are going to be psychological issues. People need company. People
Yes.
need human interaction.
Right.
They will come for human interaction,
Right.
but not in large numbers. But I think
So what I understand is that the education on the online surface will take a hit. Even there would be a hit on the brick and mortar, that the standard offline centers. But the students will come because eventually whatever they speak to machine, it's not connecting emotional in nature.
they will come. When the students come, they will not come for the classroom coaching or anything, because they would have
There would be a
learned.
disruption there also.
Yeah, they will have access to everything. No,
Okay.
AI bots or AI robots or AI teachers AI teachers, right? So I think AI teachers will that category will be introduced. So they will teach better the entire world history or your internal security than you or me or whoever, like the best teachers, right? So they will come for human touch or human interaction, in the sense that how to better it, maybe, to discuss with, to brainstorm with the real humans, to escape the solitude or something like that.
So, sir, in this, like what
I
I'm
mean,
feeling.
the picture I'm giving is urban specific, I think, with,
Right. I get it. Probably Delhi, Bangalore,
yeah, it's long way to go in the Indian context, because there are
many other from inequality, the issues which we discussed in the start. So I want to know, like, since you're talking about AI, you see it as a disruptive technology or a supplementary technology? And second part to this, how as a teacher or how as an educator we should be evolving in regard to AI?
See, it is disruptive in the sense that all these big tech companies have made it look like disruptive. They are making it disruptive because it is more profitable. It saves them like workforce, from hiring so many people. They can automate. They can also better understand human behavior when they want to sell something using AI tools. They understand people's preferences, tastes, choices, everything. So in detailed way, that is how they develop, their selling techniques, whatever it is, whether it is software, whether it is goods online, right? So now they started investing in these technologies. So they haven't started investing in to become to make world a better place, in the sense that better health, better education. Still the profit is at the core of it.
Obviously.
Right? So now they're using responsible generative AI, like responsible.
That's also when government asked.
When the government, and there is this question of regulation.
Yes.
I don't think it can be regulated. It cannot be regulated, I think. Right? It is going to be out of control or out of hand. That is why I said individuals become more powerful, and we don't know how they are going to use it. We saw how these airlines were threatened, the fake bomb, and how we are seeing, not using AI but using the technology, present technology.
Correct.
They are able to disrupt the normal life. They are able to create fear. When they get these technologies, we don't know what kind of tactics they are going to use.
And that was just a prank. What about if it is seriously manipulated and done?
12,000 crore was lost last year, cyber frauds.
And Prime Minister had, by now he has spoken twice on this, that about digital arrest and cyber frauds. And with AI, I see, sir, for example, we get a phone call from this fake police inspector. I think in future we'll be getting a fake call from our parents also. He will talk like our parents and probably asking, please send this money. It would be very easy. I think this is still fine. What about, sir, that Army Chief is, Army, Navy, Air Force Chief is at XYZ places. They get a call from the Prime Minister and exactly talking him and asking him that, nuclear codes and everything, this kind of thing. I'm saying obviously there would be a lot of security, parallels would be drawn to stop it, but this can happen.
Anything is possibility. Nobody could have dreamt even in their wildest dreams. Something like this would have been possible even 5 years ago. Right? So they can generate videos. They can generate deep fakes.
Right.
They can mimic voices. They can make me sing like the best singer in the world.
Yes.
Using my own voice.
That is already happening.
It's already happening. Everyone is going to be a singer. Those who want to sing, they are going to be a singer.
Correct.
Those who want to dance well, they can create their own videos, dancing like Michael Jackson or Hrithik Roshan, or,
Correct.
Vicky
During
Kaushal.
election, a lot of these videos come.
Mm.
Sir, we have something called, a new section, UPSC Edge, and there's a question in this. Can AI aid aspirants in developing ethics and moral reasoning?
No. I mean, see, it's a personal choice.
Right.
Developing one's own ethics and moral compass or moral competency. So it is one's personal choice. So AI itself is in a dilemma, like sometimes to give correct answer or wrong answer. Sometimes it may give wrong answers because it cannot still think, right? Think like humans. So that may happen in the future. So the like UPSC aspirants, they can use to generate better answer, but I don't think they can learn ethics from. Yeah, so because AI is still online thing, right? I mean, it is not. It's not like human action. It is not in the field, trying to take certain decision and teach it something like that. But definitely they can learn from the best of the Western philosophy, moral philosophy, to resolve a case study, to overcome a crisis situation.
Sir, even in the last podcast, we had this section. So we are continuing with that. That is your take, my answer. And this question is specifically for you because on daily basis, I see that you do this. Can AI be trusted to assess subjective answers like essays or ethics paper? Because I see you take 40 minutes, 45 minutes, you write, you tell students, and you told me that, Sanjay, AI is the future. So tell me, if not now, can this be done in future? Now, though I know it's tough, but even in future.
Yes, AI can evaluate better than me in the future.
And I don't think so.
No, even in the subjective cases, because what is happening is that, of course, human mind is sharp and it has its own experiences, it has its own intuition, it has its own insights. How to read one's mind when they have written something.
Correct.
I'm not saying immediately AI will do it. I'm talking about, let's say, 5-10 years later.
10?
5-10 years, I think,
Okay.
right? But right now, yeah. So I think the humans can do better job because when somebody writes an essay, but see in the UPSC, I mean, sorry to say something like this, but very few people write original essays. Very few people write essay with intention.
What do you mean by original essays? This is for all aspirants. Please listen to this.
They lack original ideas, original perspective, original style of writing, their own style of writing. Everyone follows a topper's previous copy, or somebody topper might have written a book that write essay like this. Everybody quotes similar example, same structure. You start with anecdote, right, and then there is something called counter to the topic. You have another contrasting story, and then there is mechanical thesis statement, and in the body they say these are the dimensions, but from technological angle, same idea. From environmental angle, same idea. From social angle, same idea. Economic, political angle, same idea. What is there in the topic? There is no depth. There is no analysis. There is no critical, analysis. Earlier you were talking about critical thinking. That is almost 99% of the essays it is absent. So when that is absent, AI can do better job in evaluating. Because what you have written is mostly factual content.
Correct.
Right. The conclusion is also lame, like uninspiring. The most of the essays written by very few people who have read English literature, very few people who have read psychology or philosophy, the philosophy. So there is a book by Will Durant, the history of Western philosophy. If somebody has read that book, it's a very basic book, Introduction to Philosophy. Even if somebody has read that book, right, their essay will look more original, because not original from the perspective of the essays written by brilliant people, from the perspective what is written by most of the UPSC aspirants. Because nobody is writing about, let us say, Schopenhauer. There is a philosopher who talks about happiness, right? So if somebody writes about him, so then I know that he has out of interest read something, so he's a bit creative compared to others. So that is why the AI will still decide based on these examples and all. But if there is critical thinking, if there is an alternative opinion, really contrasting counter opinion, and your own original opinion, contrary to the popular opinion, so that AI may not be able to judge because it's something coming out of you alone, right? So it may misjudge also. It may say it is wrong also because it hasn't seen that in the its data set. So their human touch, human mind is required, to assess that. Yeah. So this idea to appreciate, not just to assess, to appreciate that idea.
Sir, I have a problem with this. What I want to say, which you're telling, the problem is that, sir, that as people use more AI, and in your answer, I get to know that the aspirants have a straight-jacketed approach. That these are 6 books for prelim, these are standard 8 books for UPSC mains. Let's read it and 4 or 5 topper strategy, and they do, and they start working on it. On AI, for example, first class to 12th class, the creativity will even die more because they would not be reading. I'm assuming that they are not reading other books you're talking about. They're not reading philosophy. They're not reading psychology. Don't you think with the usage of a heavy usage of AI, because they'll write, give me the summary of this book. That is what they're looking for. Summary in 100.
Yeah, so very valid point. Unfortunately, what will happen, if you take UPSC toppers as a sample, in the future, like this year, next year, what happens? We'll start seeing people who have effectively, smartly used AI.
Right.
They will start scoring more marks.
Yes.
Right. But again, still, that summary of a book is still a better than
Not reading it
not
all.
at all reading or not at all using it.
Yes.
Right. So that number will go on increasing after, let's say, 4 or 5 years. Now everyone will start. Now the standard of the content will increase in the UPSC mains. Right. When they start observing, the standard of the question will also increase going forward. So it becomes very tough for people. Again, my concern, those who are educationally backward. So these kind of posts will be garnered, occupied by only people who have access to these things. That is also another danger. But eventually everyone will start using, maybe after 5, 6, 7 years. So then what is my question? Will UPSC force people to read original literature?
Yes.
Now everyone is using it, right, to check even more originality. So that is something I told in the recent class also when I was addressing core batch students. I think there comes a time when your creativity, your originality, your individuality will be thoroughly tested by the UPSC. Right? It will force you to read books. It will force you to read original stuff. Because I think AI, I don't think will be able to generate a very individualistic content for every individual. Right? If I ask the same question, same content, if you ask the same question sitting somewhere, right? But I am a different human being with different expectation and different thinking, right? So that, I don't know, it might do in the future, but immediately I think.
So just to add on to this, like, you've seen UPSC aspirants for decades. So is the exam gone tough, or the standard of aspirant gone poor?
Cream of aspirants are evolving, who are very smart.
Okay.
Who knows how to use
Are
the
these from those urban areas you talk about?
Obviously, urban, we cannot say that only urban. There are
upper middle class,
those who are passing out from top schools and colleges.
IIT, IAS, and
yeah, so even he can be from rural area.
Okay.
Might have got education in IIT Bombay or IIT Delhi or Madras, right? So they have this advantage.
Got it. So cream of aspirants are good. Rest exam has gone tougher, sir, or you feel that
it has gone tougher because there were lots of predictability in terms of what students were writing. So they wanted to test more original things. So they changed prelims. They are changing mains. That is why these philosophical topics were introduced in the UPSC, right? Because if they had introduced that, if I had given a topic on climate smart technologies in agriculture, everyone would write similar stuff, right? So now they started changing topics. So forests are the best case studies for economic excellence. You to interpret it is not very easy for everyone, right? Again, you cannot interpret straightforward that there is ecology and there is economics, and you cannot simply write what is there in economics and ecology. You have to bring new perspectives. So that is what they are doing, interdisciplinary approach, bringing two disciplines, bringing them together. So essay has evolved. Next, ethics will evolve in that direction, and then GS 1, 2, 3, some section of GS 1, 2, 3 questions. I think they will also become more subjective in the future.
Correct. So we have come to the last section now, sir. So in the closing thoughts, I want to know, do you think AI will replace completely teachers, or AI and the traditional teaching methods will come together and revolutionize India? My focus is India, sir.
No, I think traditional education, I don't think it will ever come back, I think.
Okay.
So again, there is going to be a small section who will crave for it, who will want it. But once something has taken over, once something has become predominant, right? If it has become a predominant system, it is difficult to replace it, through the efforts of government, policy, legislation, whatever it is. So then the future is, we all have herd mentality, governments, institutions, people. If someone is using, we also want to use it. If more people start using it, everyone wants to be on the same bandwagon. Like everyone wants to ride it, right? Whatever technological benefit, even with flip side. So eventually, people will start using it, everyone. So the government will not go against it. There are going to be protests. The similar thing is happening in Karnataka with respect to government school versus private school. There used to be a talk, like upgrade, government schools. No, now the thing is they are closing down all the government schools. There are only 1, 2, 3 students in many government, thousands of them. They are closing down. That is because they have got that courage, because most of them are sending, their children to private schools. Private schools are becoming the norm, even in the even in villages, even in remote villages.
So that's across country happening.
Across country it's happening. Yes, so similarly, this thing will also happen, technology.
Sir, since I've just come to Bangalore, I see, sir, in Bangalore there are different Bangalores existing within the same Bangalore. For example, if you go to Whitefield, the prices change. There's a society, there is a mall inside that society, and the generation of income is happening at different level. And when I meet those kids, they are not in CBSE, they are in IB board, International Baccalaureate, or they are and the Harvard. So again, since the Bangalore is epicenter of Silicon Valley, which I feel in India, do you think a company will come from Bangalore only which would be creating something like AI?
AI for whom?
For all of us, and it can bridge this disparity?
No. So then there won't be a company as part of social entrepreneurship.
Okay.
Right. The social
Why
entrepreneurship,
do you think it can't
there was
happen?
a time when it created hope that social entrepreneurship will become a very big industry and more people will be inclined. So to start social entrepreneurship. So now that trend, I don't think, I don't know if I'm not updated or not, but I don't see somebody with social outlook starting those kind of companies. So only likes of Azim Premji, only they can do it.
No, I was thinking, because in Bangalore I feel this disparity. So a person who has all the things, maybe he understands that I need to bridge this disparity in Bangalore, then in Karnataka. And
so capitalism doesn't allow you for such kind of thinking.
But we still have socialism also, at least thought.
There is no such thing as compassionate capitalism.
Okay.
Narayan Murthy coined that, I think. Compassionate capitalism. There is no compassion in capitalism.
It's cutthroat.
No,
Cutthroat profits.
If other companies making profit, why do you want to create something? And inequality is desirable even for capitalism.
Okay. Now we are starting a very different podcast, and so we'll talk about this sometime later. So thank you very much for listening to both of us for this lovely podcast on artificial intelligence, education, UPSC, civil services, and a very important comment has come from that the coaching industry will collapse, and this is coming from one of the topmost heads from this industry. So this is a message to everyone. Please do listen, and how education and AI would change, how the revolution will happen. So with this wonderful thought, we'll be closing it, and please do share your comments. How do you feel about this? And do press the bell icon, do like the session, and please share it with everyone else. And if you want that we take these kind of topics, please put in comments what topics do you want us to take. So thank you very much, sir. It was again lovely talking to you.
Thank you, sir.